everybody, and welcome to DDFR. I am your host, Doomsday Ducks fan. Today we are going to talk about seven different games, but I'm really going to break it down into two little sections. The Ducks' little homestand they just had, and the Ducks' road trip that they just had. We got to start off with the road trip, and first stop is Montreal. Montreal Canadiens took the whipping to the Ducks. Ducks were never really in the game. They couldn't finish their chances. Look, Caden Primo played well. Ducks made him look like he was playing really, really well. The power play kind of just tore them apart. It was the penalty kill was doing a good job for the Ducks in the beginning of the game. And then once the dam broke, it was just Nick Suzuki and Juraj Slafkovsky finding each other on three separate goals. 2 goals by Nick Suzuki, 1 goal by Slafkovsky. 3 of the 5, those 3 goals would have been enough to beat the Ducks on their own. It was a mess. Not great. But then they go into Ottawa. And kind of dominate the game. Look, the game was pretty even for the first half. It was back and forth, but then the Ducks just took over. Korpisalo didn't play very well. Ducks were smart, pounced on their opportunities, and executed incredibly well. Mason McTavish, Troy Terry, they looked great together. Leo Carlson with Adam Henrique looks really good alongside of Alex Killorn. We might just skip over the Toronto game. There was nothing to learn from that game that we didn't already know. The Ducks are not an elite team. The Leafs are. 9-2. Austin Matthews hat trick. Bobby McMahon 2 goals. They got torn apart, bro. They got torn apart. And, you expect them to lose games, but they gave up, bro. They gave up. The last 2 goals, Gibson, 2 of the goals of the 9 probably should have been stopped. 1, Dostal probably should have stopped the McCabe goal. 2, Gibson probably should have stopped the Robertson goal. Everything else, it was just really good shots. Smart plays, deflections at the last moment. Something we learned on this road trip through this third game here, Cam Fowler's cooked, bro. He is cooked. Pairing Jamie Drysdale up with him in the beginning of the season, it wasn't helping Jamie. Might have been helping Cam, wasn't helping Jamie. Not strong on other players, not physical in front of his own net, not skating fast. I don't know if it's just all the years of tons and tons of hours, or not hours, tons and tons of minutes played each night, or maybe it's just he's done with the team. Because this isn't the Cam Fowler I remember, man. Yeah, Cam would have these blunders once in a while. He's dropped off a cliff, and it's kind of sad to see. They finish in Buffalo. They had an early game. They fought through it. They fought through the game, and Mason McTavish is a monster. He had 2 assists. Neither of them he was on his feet for. 1 he was on his butt. 1 he was on his stomach. Or was it his back and he was reaching back and he did the Ovechkin thing to pass it? It was ridiculous. Found Troy Terry both times, and dude, Troy Terry is a monster. Troy Terry and Mason McTavish, that chemistry they've developed together is, oh my god, just amazing to see. We're hoping that maybe when Cutter Gauthier joins the lineup, he will have good chemistry like that with Leo. If Zegras comes back before the end of the season, maybe Zegras could have good chemistry with Leo. He looked like he was starting to click before he got injured again, but here's the thing, man. Z's got to perform when he comes back. If he comes back, and Gauthier's got to pan out, because Leo's got to find someone to play with. not only throughout the road trip, but even the homestand, it seems like he's so close to being able to put it together. He's just missing someone to play with. Adam Henrique is that sometimes, Alex Killorn is that sometimes, but those are great complementary pieces on the wing. He needs another elite player. Mason McTavish, offensively, is elite. Troy Terry, I would say, is elite on both sides of the puck. He's really good defensively. He's great offensively. He's a game breaker. He's a game breaker, and is only getting paid $7 million a year. Like, it's a fantastic contract that we're looking at with Troy Terry, the way he's able to take over the game sometimes. And you don't, like, that's not a player I was expecting to see that from this year. I was expecting maybe Zegras to do that sometime, Leo to do that sometime, Mason to do that sometimes. And Mason has had his moments, Leo's had his moments, but the one who is consistently driving play for this team is Troy Terry. Now, let's head back to Anaheim. They play against Columbus. I was actually at this game. I watched them go down 4-0. I watched them look like absolute crap and look like they got booed off the ice in the first period. They got booed off the ice. That's a tough look. By the end of the second period, they had cheers raining down upon them for how they played. They played amazing in the second period. They gave up that early goal to let it be 4-0, and then they scored 4 straight goals. Mason McTavish, Troy Terry, Leo, Mint, all of them looked absolutely amazing. And you know what? They couldn't keep it going. The third period came, and I don't know what happened, but all their momentum just died. It just died out of nowhere. And like, you guys just had this miraculous comeback. You're playing against the worst third period team in the league. The goal differential for the Blue Jackets, nobody in the league has a worse goal differential in the third period than that. And you let them score 3 times. One's an empty netter, but 2 of those you need to win that game. You need to win that game. That's a feel-good game. You came back. We're down 4-0. You tied the game, and you came out flat in the third. It was sad. And then, 2 days later, they play against the LA Kings on the first half of a back-to-back. They played Nashville the night after. They played the Kings really well. They did. Both teams were physical. Both teams had their offensive opportunities. Both teams played really defensively well. And it went to a shootout, and I hate the shootout, and the Ducks lost in the shootout, but that's not why I hate the shootout. The shootout is dumb. I've said this when the Ducks won. I'll say it when they lose. The shootout is dumb. The Ducks still lost, but it's dumb. Nashville, you can't keep falling behind in games. You can't let the other team outshoot you ungodly amounts and expect to win. That's what they did in the Nashville game. They tried to come back, and when you're on the second half of a back-to-back, it's hard to come back. Do you know why? Because you are tired from playing 24 hours ago. In fact, it wasn't even 24 hours ago. You played at 7:30 p.m. That's when you started the game. And this game started at 5 p.m. You didn't even get a full 24 hours rest. There's no excuse. You started flat. You knew you had to start strong. You tried to play comeback kids again, and it didn't work. The penalty kill has been suspect for basically, I don't know how far we are in through the season. Let's say we're like 3/4, almost 3/4 of the way through. It has to be half the season. Half of the entirety of the season, which means 2/3 of the season that you've played so far, the penalty kill has been suspect. They collapse on players who are near the net, and when they have one player who is covering someone in the slot and someone who has already collapsed, that player who was covering that man just kind of floats there. Instead of finding somebody else, finding a passing lane, finding a stick to tie up, they just kind of float there. And I get, okay, maybe the strategy is hope that the puck bounces around in the feet and then you can just sweep it out of the zone right out of there. You need to get yourself into a position that if it doesn't come out of there like that, you need to be able to play defense. I saw it with Vetrano. I saw it with Fowler. I saw it with Minchikov even. Like, this is something that needs to be fixed. It's a very, very important thing to get fixed, and it needs to be fixed. There's not much more to say about these games. The road trip was ho-hum. It was... You beat the two teams that you probably should have, and you lost to a team that you should have had a close game with 5-0, and you got utterly destroyed by a team that was better than you. The homestand is sad. They played in LA, technically, against the Kings, but, like, they went Columbus to LA, back to Anaheim. It was basically a 3-game homestand. They got 1 point. They got 1 point out of those 3 games. It's got to be better than that. It's got to be better. All right. Well, the Ducks play against the San Jose Sharks on the 29th of February. Yes, it is a leap year. They play against the Sharks in San Jose. The game is at 7:30. That's 7:30 Pacific time. You know, that's 8:30 Mountain Time, 9:30 Central, and 10:30 Eastern. I doubt anybody is watching on the East Coast. Not against these two garbage teams. This is the 32nd place team taking on the 30th place team. It's not a very fun game. It's Battle of the Bad, and we will see who comes out the winner of the Celebrini Bowl. That is it for this one. Thank you all so much for showing up and watching. I appreciate everybody who watches the DDFRs. Hit that like button if you like what you saw. Hit that subscribe button if you really like it. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Oh, this team, bro!